Yeah, we were talking about this before the podcast, that the world of the actor is very difficult. And a lot of people accuse actors of being fake. And
Joe Rogan has been talking for years about Hollywood's hidden world, but now he's taking things further. He's pulling back the curtain to show what really happens behind the scenes, and what actors and music artists are expected to do to succeed is shocking. Joe has even named some powerful figures in entertainment who allegedly use manipulation to control opportunities. Join us as we dig into everything Joe has shared and uncover the secrets Hollywood doesn't want you to know.
Is do something and talk about something that's going to politically get them at odds with the people that run the studios. So no one does. Everybody just follows the same sort of wacky ideology.
In recent years, we've started to see something that once felt impossible. Powerful figures in Hollywood finally being exposed. Names that once dominated movies, music, and television are now being questioned in ways no one expected. And one voice that has been very outspoken about this is Joe Rogan. He has talked about people like Harvey Weinstein, Sean Diddy Combs, R. Kelly, and Woody Allen. These were not small names. They were giants in the entertainment world. They worked with hundreds of performers, influenced careers, and shaped the industry itself. But behind all that success, there were whispers, rumors that many people claim had been circulating for years. What's even more shocking is the idea that many insiders may have known something but chose to stay quiet, not because they agreed, but because speaking up could cost them everything: their jobs, their reputation, and their future. In an industry built on connections and power, silence can sometimes feel like survival. And this is where the conversation takes another turn. Some critics have pointed fingers at Oprah Winfrey, questioning her connections with several high-profile figures who have faced serious allegations. Now, it's important to understand that these are claims and opinions that have been debated online. They are not proven facts. Still, the discussion has grown louder over time. Joe Rogan has also shared his thoughts on Oprah, especially when it comes to what he sees as contradictions. He questioned how someone with so much wealth can strongly speak about income inequality. At one point, he even made blunt remarks about the gap between her lifestyle and the message she shares. He also brought up how her political views have changed over time, especially regarding Donald Trump, which has added fuel to the conversation. But one moment that really caught public attention happened back in 2018. Singer Seal posted a meme shortly after Oprah's powerful Golden Globe speech. The image showed Oprah greeting Harvey Weinstein warmly at an event. The caption suggested that some people in Hollywood may have been aware of certain behaviors but stayed silent, only to later present themselves as voices for change. The post quickly went viral and sparked major debate. Seal later explained that his message was not meant to attack Oprah personally. Instead, he said he was calling out what he sees as hypocrisy in Hollywood, a system where people may ignore problems until it becomes safe or popular to speak out. Still, many people came to Oprah's defense. They reminded others that she is a survivor of abuse herself and has used her platform to support victims, especially during the fallout of the Harvey Weinstein scandal. Supporters also pointed out that many celebrities have taken photos with powerful figures over the years, often without knowing what was happening behind closed doors.
But he's a creative thing. Harvey's an executive guy, right? He's the guy, the money guy behind everything, and Coke and...
Joe Rogan, however, continued to push the conversation further. In his podcast discussions, he suggested that stories about Weinstein were widely known within certain circles. According to him, people operating at that level likely heard rumors, even if they didn't fully understand the truth. And that brings us to the bigger question: how much did people really know? And if they did know something, why didn't more people speak up sooner? This is what makes this topic so powerful and uncomfortable at the same time. It's not just about individuals, it's about a system where power can protect people, where silence can be rewarded, and where truth can take years to come out. As more stories come out, people are beginning to see Hollywood in a new way, not just as a place of fame and success, but as a world with hidden sides, some inspiring and some very disturbing. And at the center of it all is someone who is said to have abused their power: Hollywood's hidden villain.
He apparently hugged a woman and his hand went down her back. This is the depiction.
For a long time, Harvey Weinstein was seen as one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. He helped create major films, worked with some of the biggest stars, and had a reputation that made people take him very seriously. If you were trying to make it in the industry, getting his attention could feel like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But behind all that success, there was another story, one that stayed hidden for years. As time went on, more and more people began to speak out. Many young actresses and models shared similar experiences. They talked about being invited to private meetings, often in hotel rooms or quiet offices, with the promise of discussing roles or career opportunities. On the surface, it sounded like a dream, but for some, those moments quickly turned uncomfortable and confusing. That's where the conversation around the casting couch became very real. What once sounded like a rumor or something people brushed off started to feel much more serious. Some women said they felt pressure, like their future in the industry depended on how they responded in those moments. Others shared that they were afraid to say no because they didn't want to lose their chance or be shut out completely. As more voices came forward, pattern began to appear. These weren't random, isolated stories. They connected in ways that made people stop and really pay attention. Over time, it became clear that this behavior had allegedly been happening for years, quietly behind closed doors. There were also legal cases that added more weight to these claims. Some lawsuits described situations where meetings were carefully arranged, sometimes even across different cities or countries. Cases like the one involving Caddy and Noble brought more attention to how serious these accusations were, showing that this wasn't just talk, it had real-world consequences.
Well, mostly who did business with Harvey Weinstein. I think in an awful lot of the dialogue that I've read that come out, there are countless women who understood that that's what happened, and there were many people who said, well, that's just Harvey being Harvey.
What truly shocked many people was the idea that whispers about this behavior had been around for a long time. Some people in the industry described it as something they had heard about, but never openly discussed. And if people suspected something, why didn't more speak up? This is where voices like Joe Rogan have stepped in, raising tough questions about power, silence, and accountability. He and others have suggested that in environments where influence is so strong, it can be hard for people to go against the system, even when something doesn't feel right. But even with all of this, once these stories began to come out, they created a ripple effect. More people found the courage to share their experiences. Conversations that were once avoided started happening out in the open. The industry began facing pressure to do better, to protect people, and to create safer spaces for those trying to build their careers. Of course, it's always important to be careful and separate proven facts from rumors or online speculation. Not everything said on the internet is true, but what cannot be ignored is the impact these stories have had. They've changed how people see Hollywood. They've made audiences more aware of what can happen behind the scenes, and they've shown that even the most powerful figures can be held accountable when people decide to speak up. One big question that's been on everyone's mind is, why didn't Oprah Winfrey speak out about Harvey Weinstein before his arrest? After all, he was one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. Rumors about his behavior had been circulating for years. The answer, according to Oprah herself, is complicated. She didn't immediately speak out because she didn't have the full picture, but she eventually spoke.
And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
After Weinstein's arrest, Oprah realized that criticism was coming her way. She saw how A-list celebrities were being scrutinized for their connections to him and began to address the situation publicly. In October 2017, shortly after the scandal broke, and admitted she struggled to find the words to explain the magnitude of what had happened. She called the moment a watershed for women, a turning point when long-suppressed pain, anger, and frustration could finally come to light. Oprah explained that what she had witnessed from Weinstein personally was bullying. In an interview with Gwyneth Paltrow on March 2018, she said, "If Harvey was on the phone, you went, 'God, you don't want to take the call because you were going to get bullied in some way.'" This distinction is important. While she had seen his intimidating and controlling behavior, she insists she was unaware of the intimate misconduct happening behind the scenes. The scandal in her eyes wasn't just about one person. It was about a larger system in which women often felt forced to look the other way to protect their careers. Once the women began speaking out, it created a ripple effect that could no longer be ignored. Oprah emphasized that the real problem was systemic enabling, how the industry and culture around powerful men like Weinstein often allowed abuse to continue unchecked. She noted that she had professional interactions with Weinstein, including intimidating phone calls regarding actresses she was supporting. While these encounters were difficult and sometimes abusive in tone, she repeatedly stated that she was unaware of that kind of mistreatment at the time. She highlighted how the brave voices coming forward could empower others, creating a shift that might finally reshape industries for the better.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
In short, Oprah didn't stay silent because she condoned abuse. She stayed silent because the full scope of the crimes was hidden, and the culture at the time made speaking out nearly impossible. Once the truth began to emerge, she used her platform to call for accountability and change, helping turn a horrifying scandal into a moment of awareness and empowerment. The players and the secret parties. While Oprah Winfrey used her platform to speak out about Hollywood abuses, Joe Rogan has also discussed her and Ellen DeGeneres in the context of Hollywood's hidden power game. According to Rogan, reaching the top of the industry doesn't just require talent. It often comes with unseen pressures, intense compromises, and connections that outsiders rarely notice. Success at the highest levels of Hollywood can demand navigating an invisible maze of favors, reputations, and influence where a single misstep can derail an entire career. But behind all that, the story becomes much darker when you look at those working behind the scenes. One figure in particular, Stephen Twitch Boss, was an executive producer on The Ellen DeGeneres Show and worked closely with Ellen for nearly 8 years, staying with the show until it ended in 2022. On December 13th, 2022, Twitch tragically ended his life, shocking those who knew him. At first, no one knew why he made such a drastic decision, but a note recovered afterward hinted at deep turmoil, suggesting he may have held Ellen partially responsible. Some online sources claimed Twitch possessed dark, compromising evidence involving both Ellen and Sean Diddy Combs. However, his wife, Allison Holker Boss, said he had been struggling with deep emotional pain and internal battles for years. The note reportedly contained challenges he had faced, giving a glimpse into the private struggles that may have gone unnoticed by everyone around him. The details of Twitch's final days are haunting. He left his home and checked into the Oak Tree Inn, a small motel about a mile away. Reports indicate he switched his phone to airplane mode, cutting himself off from anyone trying to reach him. TMZ later revealed he left a note, though the contents remain largely private, leaving a somber mystery around the motivations behind his final act.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to...
Entertainer Tyler Perry has spoken publicly about understanding the kind of hidden pressures and emotional toll that come with being part of high-stakes Hollywood environments. Meanwhile, resurfaced clips from Ellen's past interactions with Diddy have raised questions about the inner workings of Hollywood parties. While Ellen never directly asked Diddy to organize any events, she publicly encouraged him to attend certain parties, suggesting his presence was essential for their success. In a February 2018 episode of her show, she reminded him not to be too late to a party, emphasizing, "Once you get there, the party really starts." Diddy promised, "I got you. I promise I'm not going to let you down on this big one for real."
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party though.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then no, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
Even older interviews dating back to 2009 show Ellen referencing Diddy's after parties, commenting publicly that she knew about them. On screen, their exchanges seemed lighthearted, playful, and friendly. But now, after Diddy's federal charges, these interactions are being scrutinized in a new light. Many are reconsidering the closeness between Hollywood's elite figures and the power dynamics that surrounded private events and social circles. Comedian Richard Pryor once commented on Hollywood elites, claiming that behind closed doors, extravagant, substance-fueled parties and even orgies were organized. Before scandals were revealed, speaking out against powerful figures like Diddy or others could ruin a career. Allegedly, anyone who tried to challenge or expose these networks risked being blacklisted, losing opportunities, and being shut out from the circles that ran Hollywood behind the scenes. But Joe Rogan has been openly talking about Hollywood's dark side for anyone willing to listen, and he's been doing it for years.
What exactly happened, some sort of a breakdown. Because one of the things they're saying is like he was indicted, and then right after he's indicted, he orders how many gallons?
6 55-gallon containers full of sulfuric acid.
Jesus Christ.
What Joe Rogan just exposed. Joe Rogan has never been shy about calling out Hollywood elites. According to him, the world behind the cameras is not as glamorous or exciting as it looks from the outside. In fact, he said that many of these stars treat people as if they're beneath them. There's a particular arrogance, he explains, that some actors and producers carried in the late 90s, a sense of entitlement and superiority that made interactions with them exhausting and sometimes toxic. Rogan has also pointed out that his outspoken conservative views didn't mesh with the left-leaning Hollywood culture, but he refused to compromise his beliefs. He explains that the environment in entertainment can ruin comics, because once comedians achieve television success, they often start to temper their material. The raw edge that makes them unique begins to dull, replaced by safer jokes designed to appeal to the industry rather than the audience. He admits that he hated being around actors, producers, and casting agents because of what he saw as disingenuous behavior, contrasting them with the rawest people he prefers, like fighters, comedians, and pool players, people who say what they mean without worrying about image or politics. Over the years, Rogan has focused on recurring themes when discussing Hollywood elites: hypocrisy, elitism, and a disconnect from regular people. He has shared multiple examples of how industry figures feel they must suppress their religious or conservative beliefs to avoid backlash, as well as hosting guests who allege dark, occult-like practices taking place in elite Los Angeles circles. According to him, the industry can be both alluring and suffocating, a place where power, image, and influence often take precedence over truth or integrity. One illustrative example comes from his conversation with Matthew McConaughey. Rogan discussed how peers in Hollywood often avoid publicly expressing religious sentiments, such as thanking God, because they fear it could harm their reputations or make them seem uncool to colleagues. Rogan has also explored more controversial claims, including the idea that elite circles in Los Angeles engage in what some describe as Luciferian practices.
You think that that's on purpose, that this is like some sort of a grand design to get us to be desensitized to the idea of demons eating babies?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
In this episode of his podcast, screenwriter Roger Avery told Rogan that some Hollywood elites participate in extreme, unproven rituals and engage in predictive programming designed to desensitize the public and normalize elitist behavior. While these claims are far from verified, they reflect a broader skepticism Rogan holds toward how Hollywood operates behind closed doors. Another recurring observation is the failure of traditional studios to produce meaningful or high-quality content. Rogan argues that major studio producers increasingly favor safe, formulaic projects rather than riskier, innovative storytelling. He often contrasts this with indie or alternative productions, which, while smaller in scale, often carry more creativity, authenticity, and raw emotion. Perhaps the most consistent theme in Rogan's critiques is elitism and disconnection. Hollywood figures, he suggests, live in a bubble, largely insulated from the realities of everyday life. They're surrounded by wealth, influence, and constant affirmation, which can warp their perspective and make them disconnected from the average American experience. He often highlights the gap between industry culture and the real world, pointing out how difficult it is for outsiders or even insiders with different views to navigate the system without compromising their principles. In Rogan's eyes, this disconnect, combined with systemic pressures and a culture of fear, explains why so many in Hollywood either hide who they are or lose their authentic voice entirely. The industry, for all its glamour and opportunity, can also be a place of moral compromise, intimidation, and relentless social calculation. Yet Rogan keeps speaking out, using his platform to reveal these hidden truths, challenge the system, and question what fame and power really cost in Hollywood. And even though he criticizes Hollywood, there's one person he truly admires.
So first of all, man, congratulations. You're the first guy to beat the system. You're the first guy to get fucked over by the system, go public with it, and then get your money. I've never heard it happen before. I don't think it's ever happened before.
Bro, I still can't wrap my mind around it.
Dave Chappelle. The one person Joe Rogan truly respects in the entertainment industry is Dave Chappelle, and the reason is simple. Dave said no to money. At the height of his fame, Chappelle was offered an astronomical $100 million to continue his work on Comedy Central, yet he turned it down. Even Oprah Winfrey asked him if he was crazy for walking away from such a fortune. Dave calmly explained that accepting the money would have allowed the system to control him, compromising his artistic integrity and freedom. At the time, few understood why he refused, but in hindsight, his decision was a masterclass in courage and self-respect. Chappelle's decision left tens of millions of dollars on the table and stunned the entertainment world. People wondered if he had lost his mind, but he had a crisis of conscience, a recognition that continuing would mean sacrificing his principles. Walking away was his way of refusing to become a pawn in a system built on control, manipulation, and fear. For Chappelle, stepping out of the spotlight allowed him to protect himself from being trapped by fame, money, and Hollywood's hidden agendas. Rogan has praised this move repeatedly, calling Chappelle a mythical figure for his refusal to compromise, a comedian who chose principle over profit and creativity over conformity. Joe Rogan has consistently defended Chappelle against criticism, particularly regarding his Netflix specials. Rogan has described Chappelle as one of the greatest comedians of all time, a genius who is as kind and thoughtful offstage as he is bold and fearless on it. He emphasizes that Chappelle's humor is never rooted in hate. It's a lens through which he navigates complex and sensitive topics. According to Rogan, modern outrage culture often misinterprets comedy, searching for offense where none is intended. In his eyes, Chappelle embodies the highest standard of what it means to be a true comic artist. He challenges the system, tells the truth as he sees it, and refuses to be silenced or shaped by fear. Chappelle himself has frequently commented on Hollywood's dark and controlling nature. He has referred to the industry as sick, arguing that when someone is labeled crazy in Hollywood, it often means they refuse to bend to immoral or unreasonable demands. He has exposed the gatekeeping and subtle coercion that dominate the entertainment world, showing how the culture pressures individuals into compromising their values.
I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And I stand with my friends.
In a 2022 monologue on Saturday Night Live, Chappelle hinted at these internal power dynamics, addressing sensitive topics with his trademark blunt honesty, while pointing out that Hollywood's elite often operate within an unspoken social contract designed to maintain control. One of Chappelle's most significant critiques is the disconnect between Hollywood elites and everyday people. While he lives a quieter life in rural Ohio, he often contrasts it with Los Angeles' world of old money, fame, and corrosive culture, emphasizing how out of touch the industry can be. Walking away from a $50 million contract for Chappelle's show was not just a career decision, it was a rejection of Hollywood's moral compromises, a stand against a system that often demands spiritual or ethical surrender from those at the top. Chappelle has never shied away from calling out hypocrisy and censorship, especially in the age of cancel culture. He warns that the industry punishes those who refuse to play by unwritten rules, creating an environment where the fear of offending powerful elites overrides honesty, creativity, and personal ethics. Rogan admires Chappelle for navigating this treacherous landscape with grace, humor, and unwavering principles, defending him as a figure who refuses to bow to pressure while remaining one of the most beloved and influential comedians alive. In many ways, Chappelle shows what Rogan believes is the ultimate stand against Hollywood's hidden power games. He proves it's possible to resist manipulation, keep creative control, and still succeed. Dave Chappelle may have walked away from money, but he isn't the only one who has spoken out about this.
The time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies.
Jim Carrey. This might sound crazy, but what's even crazier is that veteran actors like Jim Carrey have been sounding the alarm on Hollywood's secret power structures for years. Long before anyone dared to connect the dots, Carrey was dropping hints about hidden circles of influence, unseen controls, and the subtle ways fame can manipulate people. On shows like Jimmy Kimmel Live, he joked about secret symbols, elite power networks, and how ordinary people and even celebrities can be controlled without ever realizing it. At the time, audiences laughed. It seemed like just another eccentric comedian's bit. But looking back now, it feels different. What once seemed like harmless comedy now reads more like a warning. Carrey wasn't just making jokes. He was pointing to patterns he had observed over decades in Hollywood. His comments about elites, hidden symbols, and unseen hierarchies now resonate in a way that seems prophetic. The laughter has faded, replaced by questions about who really pulls the strings in the entertainment world. One of the most talked about moments came back in 2014 when Carrey used a hand gesture on live television and claimed it was a symbol connected to the Illuminati.
Oh, I like it. It is a scraping.
It's the symbol of the all-mocking tongue. And I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? Like, for years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh.
The audience laughed. The host laughed. Even Jimmy Kimmel laughed. But the thing is, Jim Carrey wasn't really joking. Because if you go back and really listen to him, not just that one moment, but over the years, you start to notice a pattern. In interviews, on red carpets, during award speeches, he kept saying the same thing, just in different ways. He talked about identity. He questioned fame, asking what any of it actually means in the long run. He even broke down the idea that Jim Carrey himself is just a character, something created, performed, and believed by millions.
I don't exist. So they're all characters that I've played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things.
That's not a man losing control. That's a man waking up, slowly, stepping back from a system he no longer believed in, a system he once thrived in. While the audience at the time reacted with chuckles and disbelief, today, that gesture carries a weight of suspicion. What once seemed like a playful dig at conspiracy theories now looks like a subtle nod to truths that are too uncomfortable for mainstream conversation. Whether or not more stories come to light, there's still a big debate about whether these are just isolated incidents or signs of a deeper, systemic problem within the entertainment industry. What's undeniable, though, is that more and more performers are finding the courage to speak openly about the intense pressure, manipulation, and behind-the-scenes power struggles that have long been hidden from the public. These are the same dynamics that many say shape careers, influence opportunities, and control who succeeds or fails in Hollywood. If you want to uncover more of these hidden truths, revisit the shocking moments people are discussing online, and get a closer look at the reality behind the scenes, make sure you like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe. We're diving deep into the stories that others won't always tell, and you won't want to miss it.